Hello, my name is Jupiter Hadley, and today we're going to be playing the game Paper Brexit. For those of you who don't know, Britain decided to leave the European Union. As someone who's living in Britain but is an American citizen, I couldn't vote, and because I'm not officially a citizen here, so I couldn't vote. But yeah. Let's see what happens. Press this button to leave the European Union. We've left. It takes about 2 years to leave, but essentially. Paper Brexit. I'm sorry about this activate Windows setting in the corner of the screen. Get it taken care of soon. This game of mine, it's crude, divisive, and mean. The facts within it, they're poorly researched fragments and in some cases outright fabrications. She had leant forward at this point to pick up her port. And if I've gotten things wrong, who cares? The British public certainly won't. Something an imaginary politician didn't say to you a few months before the Britain public voted to leave the EU, 58 to 42%. If they'd said something like this to you, drinking in the shadows of Parliament without so much as an off the record, and you hadn't reported it, you wouldn't be a very ethical journalist. You'd be the kind of person who would sell their soul. You'd be the kind of person who did what they had to do. Alright, so what's this asking me? Ooh, I kind of thought I would scroll up a whole lot faster. So who cares if things gotten wrong? There's so much lying around this vote, so you didn't really do what you had to do. You'd be the kind of person who would sell their soul. You're going to shadow me, Boris Thompson had said to you, and she meant it. She has gone from being an affable TV panelist to prime minister in the same span of time it took you to fail at everything you'd ever tried. The buffoon who bought the position of prime minister with the soul of Britain, assassinating the career of her predecessor in the process. One of your friends is going to have to leave the country. You've done well out of this. So I've gotten like a new position, I guess. One of your friends is going to have to leave it. That's how I feel. I feel like depending on how this EU stuff goes, it might change a lot of stuff with my friends. You haven't returned this message. You packed your bag for work and tried to forget about it. After all, the Prime Minister trusts you, likes what you write. There's even talk of you quitting your newspaper job and coming to work for her directly. You can't think about that now, though. Big things are afoot. President Trump, which I guess is supposed to be Trump, is to visit the newly independent United Kingdom in a few weeks, and a few choices remain about how the UK will handle going it alone. You catch the tube to Westminster. You arrive at the cafe, but your editor isn't there yet. The woman behind the counter looks at you, her expression tired. Let's go coffee. It's probably going to be a long day. Without a word, she busies herself, running the insanely complex-looking coffee machine to produce a small cup of something you're unlikely to drink much of. You pay. You sit down with your drink. You look up at the television on the wall. Trump is speaking in a little soundbite on the BBC. I love the UK. I love it. There's great people there. Wonderful people. A lot of investment I put into it. A lot. And they had the right idea. They closed the borders. Easier for them than me. They're an island. Kathy? Trump grins. I'm going to have to build an actual wall. You wait for your editor to arrive. Your dreams, you sometimes feel like you're back at school. In your dreams, you sometimes feel like you're back at school. Your wife has somehow cheated on you with a teacher who used to bully you, and who told you you didn't deserve the marks you got and that you're naked. You sometimes feel so ordinary in your fears without originality. Sometimes you're more afraid of people of other races than your own. Even if they're not doing anything wrong, you just standing there. Sometimes you quicken your pace and you wonder if anyone... Hello. No, stop it. Sorry, I don't read that fast. I get tripped up a lot reading. You wonder if anyone ever noticed. Your editor finally arrives around half an hour after he was supposed to. He's sweating. He's always sweating. It often subsides when he's sat down for a bit. Having so much fat permanently hugging your vital organs is prone to heat up a man, but you find him unpleasant to sit with. He's kind, though, a rare quality in people you meet. The usual apologies flow back and forth, and then you get down to business. So today I wanted to go through a few things from your article. He smiles at you with his faint, concerning expression. You don't know if it's pity you see or if he's patronizing you. Just to check the facts, figure out the tone, etc. Is there a problem with the tone? Are you suggesting I've got the facts wrong? Sure, Harry, fire away. Let's not be defensive. Here's your editor. Sure, Harry, fire away. He starts fumbling with his bag to remove his papers, full of red ink and circles and inscrutable handwriting. You stopped using paper a couple years ago. He looks through his papers. He takes off his glasses from his sweaty face and holds them in one hand like a writer might hold a cigarette. You sometimes wonder if your editor is a homosexual. You wonder if a lot of people are homosexuals. You have friends who are homosexuals. You just like to know where you stand with people so they don't surprise you. It's perfectly normal to worry about that. So how have things been? I'm not going to go and say I love them. He looks up from his papers, surprised. I'm fine, he smiles genuinely. I'm good, thank you. Really good. Thank you for asking. How are you? My friend's been messaging me about how I have to leave the UK. I'm good. I must be getting these headaches. I don't know, what level do we know him at? Let's do the headaches bit. I'm good. Well, mostly. I just get these headaches. The burden of a busy life, he says, looking at you with sympathy. There's silence for a few moments before he speaks again. Let's get this stuff over with, then. He puts his glasses back on and picks up a sheet of paper with a very large amount of red ink. So, he says, talk me through the day of the vote, what you saw and what you thought. To decide what stance I want to be on this. So I'm going to put things got terrifying. A lot of people are really happy about this vote, and that's fine. It's okay to be happy about it, and it's okay to be so pro-leaving. That's fine. It's completely fine. Personally, I would have preferred if we stayed, because a lot of stuff that affects my life, I'm just very uncertain of at this point. And also a lot of people voted out because of immigrants, and I happen to be an immigrant, so there's that. So personally, I would have preferred we stayed, so that's the route I'm going to go in this. But if you did prefer to leave, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I don't do many political things on my YouTube channel. Things had gotten terrifying. You stare at your empty cup, and your editor presses you. Why are things terrifying? The shooting, everything that's happened with ISIS. I wanted to leave the EU, but the lies both sides are selling. Let's do the shooting, everything that was happening with IS. The editor stares at you, but you've often had violent thoughts, haven't you? There are people that want us dead. I don't have violent thoughts. The editor pauses thinking and then looks back down at his papers, writing something down. What are you writing? He coughs and puts his pen down. Okay, the editor says, tell me about what happened after with the Prime Minister Blame Ron. I think he was on a pig farm at the time of the announcement. There's no such person called Blame Ron. What are you talking about? I'm guessing Blame Ron is Cameron. So, I think he was on the pig farm. Time of announcement. The editor laughs. Now, he says. Enough of that. Come on, tell me what happened. There was a vote of no confidence. He resigned. He was pushed out. He resigned. That's what happened. And then Boris Thompson, your editor, sips his drink. Your old friend, I think you said. Sure. He is one of my friends. So what happened to the Brexit promises? What happened to the NHS? So there was like a lot of cars going around, well, buses, I guess, that said that they'd put $350 million into the NHS. And right afterwards, they said that they couldn't do that. They never said that. So I don't think we became the envy of the world, but they didn't put that money into it. But that's what I'm going to pick, I guess, because we didn't become the envy. But they didn't. You don't want to say it, but you have to. My son died in an understaffed hospital. Fuck. No, Harry. His name is Harry. He has a name. Harry looks at you and asks if you're okay. No, yes, of course. Let's continue. Harry asks where you think you are. Britain, a cafe. I don't think I'm an editor. I think this is my counselor. Or cafe. Harry stares at you. You feel your life is supposed to be a comedy. The world seems so utterly. The whole thing, everything that's happened. You can't trust yourself. Something is very wrong. What's wrong, he asks you. I didn't think the UK was like that. that we were like this. Why does my head hurt so much? Okay, let's try this one. Harry laughs. Like what? Racist, ignorant, cruel. I'll go with ignorant. His face darkens. What was ignorant about it? The UK people did not want to be ruled by French and Germans. They wanted to rule themselves, to be themselves, without the infection of strangers. And after all, they were legitimate concerns over migrants. Even Labour said so. He paused. So we exited the EU. We headed out. What happens to all the foreigners who've been living here for years? The Vote Leave campaign said they had nothing to worry about. But the Vote Leave campaign wasn't a government. The editor stares at you. It's maddening to think that they could possibly make any promises about what would or would not happen. No one was voting for them to take power. But they did. Thompson did. Yes, he says. Tell me about Doris Thompson. She was a member of the Cowding Club at Oxford. She seemed harmless, funny even. She had these ridiculous haircuts. Seemed harmless, funny even. Like her friend Drumpf, Henry smiles. You knew her when she was young, didn't you? You both went to Oxford around the same time. What was she like back then? Sharp, calculating, she'd go places. I didn't want to talk about those days. Do funny and charming. And she's now in number 10 with you as her go-to journalist. The editor finishes his drink. I'm surprised she hasn't offered you a job. Okay, maybe he's not some sort of psychologist. Never leave the biography area. You're like family. Will offer me more money than I would say. How about we say nothing? I'll take your side. Yes, Harry, I'm sure I'll stay at your paper. Sure, I know you. I owe you my career. You've been great to me. It's true, you've been like family to me. As you say the word family, you feel a little sick. The editor is pleased in any case. Good to hear. Very, very good to hear. You notice the cafe television again. Strange how background noise often crystallizes into focus, reminding you of things you forgot were there, of sounds you had assumed to be general state of existence. It's the same clip from earlier, a lazy repeat from the BBC. Drumpf is speaking. I love the UK. I love it. There's great people there. Wonderful people. A lot of investment I put into it. A lot. And I think it would be great if they left the EU, closing up those borders. Easier for them than me. They're an island, Kathy. Trump grins. I'm going to have to build an actual wall if I get elected. And what are we going to do? We're going to make Mexico pay for it. You look around. Apart from your editor and the television, the cafe is utterly empty. It is nighttime. The world is sick and hollow. The man in front of you is one of many. He is a bacterium, a virus. It's not just found on one side or the other, but in everyone and everything. It's the madness of humanity. Who am I? You're a writer, a typist, Harry says, his expression strangely blank. And who are you? I'm an editor, of course. Something weird about this. This is all a lie, but you know better than anyone about how it's all a lie. He stares at you. What do you think you've been telling the public this whole time? Still a point of view. Still a point of view. It comes down to a question, I suppose. What do you think the purpose of a politician is? To serve the people or to represent the people? To serve the people. And what if people don't know what's best for them? What if they're confused and scared and afraid? It's still the people, but there are a lot of uninformed people who are confused and scared. That's a really tough question. I don't know if you necessarily decide for them, but I don't know if you should give them all a choice either. But we'll pick choice. And what do you do then if you know Brexit is a bad idea, but you feel you can personally profit? You sell your soul. I write news stories backing it. Exactly, and it sells papers. People want to hear it. Who gives a fuck about the world? You've got a great job and everything's going great. But my son, but my wife. About my wife. Yes, your wife. Tell me about your wife. She and my son had gone to the hospital. And she. What? The editor stares at you. Please, Harry, just let me go. He just stares at you. I don't see what this has to do with anything. Please just go. It was during spring. He says nothing. My son, he was always outspoken, unafraid. I loved him very much, and I was proud of him. There were some kids at school, they didn't like him. I hit him. He wasn't like them. He wasn't like me. Oh, he was different. He told me something. I don't think it had anything to do with me. It had everything to do with me. I must have raised him wrong. I don't think they meant it. I didn't mean it, so it's changing stuff that I pick. He came back from school like that. I'd been drinking. It was just a little fight, but he hit his head. My wife, she left me, and I was all alone. We had no money. Didn't know what that's like. I should have had more money. It was easier to blame, to hate, to separate. Things have been tough, you know? The hospital, they couldn't do anything. I hit him. She lied about what happened for me, for us. Things had been tough. I didn't even go with him to the hospital. I couldn't. I was 2. When I woke up, I didn't even check my phone. I just started writing my story. I had a deadline. Your editor looks at you for a long time, and even outside the middle of Westminster, no one moves. The world is one of status of silent actors and still dancers. He gathers his papers, writes a few more things down on his note sheet, and then speaks. You have a choice, he says, but you already know you have a choice. You've had it ready for a long time. Oh, you're going way too fast, guy. I'm scrolling up, but it's just kind of a slow scrolling. Up. Sorry. Had a choice, but you already know you have a choice. You've had it ready for a long time, considered all the arguments, analyzed the world, and even written this long document, staying awake all night on your old typewriter. She'd bought it for you, for your son as a present. He liked things like this, old things, the history of a country recaptured, an England of pubs and happy farmers in a world without pain, or this real world, a world of complexity and fear and hope. You know you have a choice. Bam. You exit or you remain. I would have liked to remain. You look around the room for a long time. You'd used this as an office for the past few years, working from home alone, saying hi to your wife for the brief amount of time she'd permit, being bothered by your boy and the routine of the day. It was full of memories, but there was a disease. There was a separation. You try to go to sleep, but you can't. He's still here, watching you from the dark, even in your home. You know in your heart that he's real. In your broken heart that he's real. He's still judging you. He'll always be judging you. You know you deserve it. You sit in your room in a lonely England, divorced from the world, from Scotland, from yourself, and you know that you did this. Well, that was pretty interesting. Yeah, politics. Thank you very much for watching and liking, commenting. If you'd like to check out the game for yourself, there's a link in the description. If you want to check me out, my info is also in the description. I don't really know what to say. I don't normally talk about politics, but I was requested to play this game, so I'm going to. and it was relevant, I guess, to the time. Yeah, we're all in this together, moving forward for the separation, so that's what's to be focused on, the best way to do what we've decided, regardless of what everyone's individual vote was. That's it. Bye.